The Green Party opposes it.
I call Colin King.
Speaker, it's a pleasure to speak in the third reading of the Crown Pastoral Land Rent for Pastoral Leases Amendment Bill. And to open up, I would have to take strong exception to the position that the Green Party has pitched its arguments at, because when we listen to the arguments, nobody has brought up the Crown's case at the Minuet station, which they took against where the farmers took the case against the Crown on the way the rent was set, and the Crown lost. So when we listen to Labor speaking and we listen to the Greens speaking, that fact has never come up, that there was this precedent where the Crown was taken to task at the Land Valuation Tribunal and it lost. And another point that has not been made adequately, Mr. Speaker, is that the principles behind the original Act was always intended to take into consideration the earning value of those properties. So what we can say on this side, the government side of the House, is that we are restoring those principles so that those farmers can have confidence that they can bank their businesses and they can carry on farming the successful way they have for the better part of the last 150 years. And we hear all those wonderful romantic notions about flora and fauna, but let's not forget that these people have successfully farmed through economic cycle, through climatic cycles, and they've maintained an asset at the very best cost back to the taxpayer of New Zealand. We hear the word mentioned about fear, and when we were on the Select Committee, we heard a lot of fear from those farmers because of the uncertainty that was being created by the culture of what we describe as envy, that we also on this side of the House see as a dislike. I wouldn't use the word hate, it could be interpreted as that if it was directed at myself, but it was certainly a strong intention of unsettling what had been a very fine process. And when you stop and think about it, the money that is directed at looking after these properties that are tenure reviews or pastoral leases is very much a fine balance, because we want the Crown in there as well, because with the introduction of rabbits and eraceum and things like that, these families, these little communities that are surviving up in some of the most unhospitable country in New Zealand are quite fragile communities, and they do need to be able to have certainty. So when we reflect on all what we've heard dissertations on academic levels. These families need to be able to front up to their banks and to be able to fund their businesses annually. They need to be assured that the way the rent is set, that it is sustainable from a business point of view, that they can have confidence in that direction. One other thing, Mr. Speaker, that hasn't been touched on is the wonderful job that Rob Davison and the Economic Service does for New Zealand in valuing and understanding what properties can run and how they function. And I have absolute confidence, and I know Rob Davison and his team from the Economic Service will be eager to get into this situation when this bill becomes law, and those 113 lessees at the moment who are before the Land Tribunal, they can opt into this piece of legislation because, in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, this re-establishes the principle that rent should be set on what a farm can produce. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Call Richard Prosser.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I despair of the National Government in